The exhibition here at Match Gallery is called Seeing Eye Awareness, and it is meant to be a bit like an onion in how it's formed, very many layers, and it's my hope that you'll peel these layers really and make an effort, because I think there's it's an exhibition that forces you to engage in rabbit holes, and each rabbit hole offers a new rabbit hole, and so that my onion is on the outermost layer. This is an exhibition about cultural clairvoyance and the way in which we have given the artist license to help us see with our third eye and discover things like the secrets. The artist is the shaman, the contemporary shaman of our society, and if used well enough, art's aboriginal function is as a vehicle for spirituality. And so you have here in this show, firstly, an effort to touch on this outer layer, the cultural clairvoyance, this romance of the artist as a kind of a cosmic mystic. And so we have great examples of those kinds of practices. And then as you get into the layers, suddenly this artist, this cultural clairvoyant, the next layer, well, this artist has been hired by companies that are using his skills, his gifts, his powers to develop whatever those companies' interests are. So imagine an artist working for Google and helping advance the creativity of artificial intelligence. That's fucking scary. And then the next layer becomes really about ideas of lobbying spiritual agenda. And I'm interested in how art is ultimately, there's this opportunity with art, because it's this last green zone for madness in culture. There's this opportunity in art to give that and find that. And so you have ultimately a hopeful expectation of the aesthetic experience being one that is transcendental. And so therein, and based on the fact that art is such a vulnerable space to operate, very tribal, very opaque systems of how things escalate to be great visual phenomena, you have this insane opportunity to influence and lobby within art, that because it's this weird green zone that mixes the one percenters and the crazies, you could walk right into Eli Broad or so-and-so's office as a crazy artist and have a dramatic impact on Eli's life and Eli on yours. And you can imagine an Illuminati scenario being born out of this. And so I'm interested in how artists that deal with institutional critique, these artists that we've given all this license to not only peel back the layers but tell the truth. You know, I'm actually interested in how, because we're such a leftist industry, because we're such a fucking leftist industry, that you're going to zoom back as soon as we like switch over into fascism. You're going to zoom back and see that all institutional critique was just a bunch of well-branded lobbying. And so there it goes further, next layer of the show, because it's all spiritual intent on every layer of this onion, but it starts to become scary. It starts to become about who's controlling the onion, and what are the forces beneath. And so the lobbying thing for me is interesting because I do think that the art world is a space for governmental, cultural operatives to be operating. And so I do think there's a thing called scripted avant-garde. And you being in a place that had a Soros Center for Contemporary Art would maybe understand that term I just said in a different way than most people would. So that's for me why, a big reason why this is important to do this show here, because I'm interested in the idea of a scripted avant-garde, and that the art world is a place to beta test ideology and then potentially shift, sea change societal wind. So there's an awesome opportunity there to make a fucking religion. we're so secular in this white cube environment. This is an asepticized church. And we have, our advancements of human civilization have essentially embraced atheism as a kind of ultimate endgame of the critical mind, or something the critical mind has completely fucking hit a dead end, honestly. And it happened the moment the words alternative facts were created, fake news. Suddenly, all systems are go. All realities are real now. This is the moment right now, 100%, to embrace magical thinking, to allow the irrational mind to grow. And so I think here, right now, this here and now, this spiritually adrift moment that we're in is we're in this kind of not sure whether atheism is real now, that we are very vulnerable agnostics. And so, so this is an opportunity. And so I think the art space, being this place that people expect secular, ironic, like everyone thinks I'm fucking joking with this. That's what's the best part, is they think I'm playing a game. Well, I am playing a game, and I'm tricking you into religion. That's 100% what's happening here, and I sincerely mean it. And so the thing that's interesting here now, my layers of the onion, is that imagine the lobbying became very formalized. Imagine, watch this. My show is called Seeing Eye Awareness. CIA. This is a fucking psyop, is what this is. This is an actual act of cultural terrorism. This is going to irreversibly damage somehow the cultural language of this place, because it's going to force every single human being that sees this show to embrace topics they're going to be very uncomfortable with, to put them in a state of not knowingness. That's actually, you're welcome, a state of enlightenment. An actual state of enlightenment is not knowingness. The person who knows doesn't fucking know. It's the person who doesn't know that's actually growing in a spiritually nutritious way. What do we have here? This is an exhibition about God, but not the fucking stupid paternal God the Father. I'm not interested in some Judeo-Christian bullshit romance. This is about the real energy system that is flowing through the entirety of this living, breathing little fucking organism that we are a part of. And I think that that is, I've told you all these layers of intent. They all matter. They are all there to cast doubt on the other. And they create this awesome echo chamber. That's what we're in, especially in the next gallery. So there's 3 rooms. This room is about spiritual infrastructure and psyops. This one is mixing hard. This is the hard mix. This is a temple to help reinforce an energy system. And that's how it's structured. It's very, we have this obvious Byzantine formation, Byzantine cross formation with Hamid Picardo's work. And so here, this is about the radicalization of art. This thing here, this film, The Innocence of Muslims, is an actual moment of weaponized art. Weaponized art. It's a dangerous, actually dangerous artwork. And then we have other actually dangerous artworks, these very snuffy films from Hamid Picardo. So this is a way to force you to face the very difficult aspects of religion, devotion, and potential, intrigue. And then these are, of course, sci-fi sort of spiritual opportunities. And then Ingo Swann is, of course, Ingo Swann. I mean, he's a legend. And in doing this show, I've been one of the biggest supporters of Ingo, and I had a real fucking weird epiphany while doing this show, where I think I've always believed him as a real clairvoyant. He's been the reason I do what I do, because I believe he's actually the real deal magic man, you know? And then there's a book that I bought online called, which is a fucking anti-Soviet propaganda book, which suddenly blew my mind, and I realized, oh my God, I think he's just originally CIA, involved in fringe, and became a way to be a scripted avant-garde for fringe thinking. So becoming this pushed clairvoyant in culture. So this room anyways is a nice one. It's about the light, because it's the light room, it's the truth. And then the middle is of course the intro gallery, where you come in, you are confronted with, you know, I would like to just say data, innocent data. And so, but I like that the show starts with the cosmic dice from Matt Johnson, because it's beautiful. It's a beautiful artwork. It's made from Gibeon meteorite, and this Gibeon meteorite event several million years ago, a huge meteorite blasted into Africa. All the Gibeon meteorite that we have in the world comes from that event, and it's mostly was dispersed throughout one part of Africa. I can't remember, and the Matt had a meteorite hunter guy on the case trying to find a big enough piece of Gibeon meteorite to make a pair of dice. So they're called cosmic dice. And you look at the surface of them, and it's scintillating is the word. It's vibrating with these crystalline patterns that you've never seen metal do on Earth. It is totally divine. And they're called cosmic dice, and it's about the chance of the universe. And honestly, it's about God's sperm. And then the last room is the brain. The last room is the religious brain, the clairvoyant mind. And it's really it's a real effort to mix. What I'm doing here is creating a new language for the occult. The occult is always a language that is treated nostalgically, and it's only looking back and revamping different rituals of whoever, Aleister Crowley, or and I just don't need to play karaoke anymore. You know, why aren't we finding and pursuing new languages of magic and the occult? And so that's what this is. I mean, this is an effort to mix artificial intelligence, divinity of artificial intelligence. That, you know, you imagine, I'll use a term here that's very important for the show. This is about a universal aesthetic experience, which is a very special way to imagine that, you know, an artwork could universally touch us all as a sensitive organism. And that is called mind control or whatever. You know, that if you find that little pattern, the mythical pattern, then you have a very sexy product for the government. And because that's all art has done. It's been controlling transcendental aspirations, you know, from the church, times of the church and socialist realism to now. And what do we have now? Well, we're in this fucking cult of narcissism now, like sectarian narcissism. The radicalization of the self is making us all these very vulnerable charlatans of our own design. And we are, it's only like, I mean, the way that social media systems have admitted that they preyed on our vulnerable egos. I mean, it's diabolical that they've turned us into our own cults of the self, and so you know, I'm looking beyond that. Fuck that shit. And this last room is really about a kind of a, yeah, it's about finding God in the details.